The Georgetown Hoyas just pulled off a massive win over Clemson, and today we're breaking down everything from KJ Lewis and Malik Mack to Vince Iwuchukwu and Julius Halafanua. We're going to be diving into stats and what this means for Georgetown chances at becoming a top 25 team.
Owen, what's up?
Doing well. What about you?
Man, I'm still pumped after the game on Saturday. It was such an emotional, just incredible win. It was so. It
Yeah.
was. I will always remember having been there.
Yeah, and obviously you were there, so it was definitely probably one of the most loud atmospheres, one of the most packed atmospheres Kaplan has been in recent decades, and definitely in the Cooley era. Just watching on the TV, it seemed like it was an amazing game. The fans showed up, the students showed up, and the players showed up as well. Every player was on point, every player was playing to where they needed to be for this team to win, and everyone was doing their part.
I was sitting. There was like an alumni section, and then it was just right next to the student section. The students were awesome. They really showed up. They answered the bell. It was completely full. They were loud. They were into it. They're obnoxious. It was everything you want from the student section. So I'm really proud of our students.
Yeah.
For those of you who did not watch the game or weren't there, Georgetown defeats Clemson 79-74.
Yeah, and that was pretty close to the projections. I projected 77
That
to
was pretty.
76.
I think it actually ended up going over the total. It
Yeah.
ended up going over. Georgetown was the underdog for some reason because I guess they think we don't have any sort of home court advantage here in DC. But Georgetown was 1.5-point underdog going into the game. The Hoyas were led by Malik Mack with 26 points and 4 boards. Sorry, not Malik Mack. KJ Lewis with 26 points and 4 boards. Malik Mack had 16 points and 7 assists. Just the backcourt dominated thoroughly. And then, of course, Vince, our big man up front, came off the bench with some big points, including towards, to seal the game. Played with 4 fouls late in the game after Julius fouled out. Should we call this the Vince game or is this the KJ game?
I think it was both in different ways because I think KJ Lewis, he kind of became the face of Georgetown basketball for this season, but also I think is one of the best players that Georgetown basketball has had in general in a while. Like I've not seen a player move like that and be that good in a Georgetown uniform for a long time. Yeah, we had Micah Peavy. We obviously had Thomas Sorber as well last year, but I never saw them moving like how KJ has been the last 2 games. And I think KJ obviously came into Georgetown playing versus better talent. He was at Arizona. He's played against Duke. I was at the game where he played Duke last year in the Elite Eight. Like he's ready for all the challenges that Georgetown could face this year because the best team we play is probably BYU, UConn, and then the worst teams we play, he can automatically take over in those games. And he's played teams to that caliber, which both Micah and Thomas did not have. So I feel like he's the best player we've seen in a Georgetown jersey in a while. And then number 2, Vince, which I'm going to keep talking about Vince because everyone knows he's my favorite player by now. If you haven't, you obviously have not watched the past videos. But Vince is amazing. He continues to prove how amazing he is. He played amazing on defense. He had 26 minutes, 14 points, 4 rebounds. As you said, playing with 4 fouls, and he was not playing stupid like some other players were. I'm going to call out Julius Halafanua because when you have 4 fouls and you decide when someone's driving to poke at them instead of keeping your hands up, like Vince was doing the entire game, keeping his hands up, making sure he didn't foul, like that may be the dumbest thing because you have to be able to play without fouling. You're a starting big man according to the stats. Vince should be our starting big man. Who's actually starting? It's Juice, and you can't be playing dumb basketball, especially versus a team like Clemson. You're playing Binghamton. You're playing Morgan State. Even a team like Wagner, which we're gonna play this week on Saturday. Like okay. But when you're playing a team like Clemson, you can't play that stupid. So I'd say it's both Vince and KJ's game.
What was your impression of the first half? So being there, it just felt they weren't sleepwalking like obviously they were against Binghamton, but they just felt a little out of sorts. They couldn't get into the right tempo that they wanted. They were clogged down in the half court. They were only down by 3 at the half, and I thought, okay, cool. Like they didn't play anywhere near their best, and they're only down 3. We're still in this, but I never felt confident in that first half. What about you watching from home?
Watching from home, I mean, we obviously weren't playing well, but I don't think we were playing bad. I think we were playing in a medium and we were playing where, like, as you said in the last episode, like, we're a team that plays down to our competition. I think that the first half we were playing like Clemson and we were playing Clemson, how Clemson was playing. We
Mm-hmm.
were only down by 3. I thought that Ed would get the guys ready and send them back out there knowing that that can't happen and we can't play like that because when you play down to the competition, it's going to be too close of a game and you never know what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you see when they come out in the second half, they're a whole different team. And I think the first half they played down to Clemson's level, which is, according to KenPom, was a top 20 team. And we are playing down to that level, but we're a better team than that. And it just shows that there's more to come from how we played. If we're playing like this versus Clemson, we can compete versus UConn and St. John's and teams like that in the Big East because this wasn't our best the first half. If we're playing how we did the second half in the first half and the second half as well, and we're cleaning the little things up, like there was a couple plays in a row where it was just turnover after turnover for both teams. A team would run down, lose the ball fast. A team would run down, lose the ball fast. No one was slowing it down. Then Jay Will slows it down for a second. We start something up again. If we could play like we did the second half, clean up the little things in the first half as well, we are a top 2 team in the Big East. The only team that's better in the Big East is UConn. We're a top 2 team in the Big East, and we're also a top 15 team in the nation going to March Madness as a top seed in the Big East. Not one, but still one of the top seeds in the March Madness tournament.
What was the We'll come back. We'll come back to that later in the show. Your projections for this team. What was the turning point though in this Clemson game? You think?
I think Zay's block. That watching from home. I mean, I'm always standing when I'm watching Georgetown games, but there's some plays that make me just yell, scream, and go crazy, and just like I that was some of the best. That was one of the best plays I think I've seen
Do you think that
defensively.
turned the game in the Georgetown's favor? That was still in the first half, wasn't it?
I think it wasn't at the start of second. I think that brought that number one brought the energy, and number two I think it did turn to. I think towards the end of the second half we were playing better, than we were at the start of the first half. The second half of the first half we were playing
Second half of
better.
the first half. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that block by Ike is what they call him. I mean, I texted into my family group chat. I was like, "Oh my god!" And at the same time, my brother and dad were both saying, "Oh my god," because that was insane. He came behind him like it wasn't his man. He sees a guy get beat versus their center and just absolutely
He didn't.
blocks him.
What bothered me so much about that is that like they basically got that. Caleb basically just got thrown to the court.
Yeah.
And
or Zay you're saying.
No, sorry, when Caleb got thrown on the court, and then Zay steps up and makes the block.
Yeah. So, when Zay made that block, he was literally putting his body on the line. He literally got decked. He falls on the ground and I was watching the presser, and I think it was KJ who said it. He didn't realize how big of a play that was for the team until they told him, and the crowd started going wild. Like he just thought that was a normal play. And if he thinks that's a normal play and he could do that at least once a game, then he's one of the best transfers that we could have gotten in the transfer portal. Like everyone we got in the transfer portal knows their role in this team. They've all been able to play well. And every single one of them, in my opinion, has taken a jump this year. I don't think there's one player that hasn't made a huge progress from where they were last season or even 2 years ago compared to now?
What did you? Did Kayvon not play?
Kayvon didn't play.
Do you know? Have you heard anything about that?
I saw a tweet that he may have been hurt, but
That was
also
nothing that they announced beforehand, right?
yeah, no. And also Ed said in the presser as well that like the guys who are going to play, they got to be ready to play and they're going to go in the game. So if Vaughn wasn't ready to play, if he wasn't able to play in this game, if he's a little hurt, he's not going to play. I think Langston's healthy now, if I'm going to be honest.
He got 5 minutes. Langston got 5 minutes again.
Yeah.
In this game.
And he's going to keep getting that 5 minutes, and hopefully by the time we get to Big East play, it will go up a little bit. But Langston was open at the perimeter many times. He looked way more ready to play than he did previously in the last 2 games that he's played, where he looked like he didn't know what he was doing. He looked conditioned, he looked ready, and he's just going to get better as the season goes. He's probably the one player that right now it hasn't progressed from last season, but he was also hurt last season. He was hurt the season before. So I don't know if we could even talk about him yet as a player who's gotten better or worse this year.
One of the things that surprised me when I went back to watch the game, and then I went and looked at the box scores and looked at the stats, and watching the game the first time, I did not realize that we did not get a lot of bench score. They really their bench massively outscored.
Yeah, in the first quarter or first half, I think their bench put up 20-something points, and we only put up 2 points in the first half.
Yeah, for the game, their bench scored 34, ours scored 18.
Yeah, I mean, that center who had 20 points or something, who was NBA, Welling?
Welling, I think he had 14. Yeah, he had 14.
Yeah, Carter Welling, 14 points, 27 minutes. So, like, that was a majority, I think, of their bench points. But also, we didn't sub KJ or Malik in the second half.
No,
they weren't subbed out at all. They played the entire second half. So, I think they played more bench, and that leads to more bench scoring. But, yeah, I agree.
Isaiah and DHS were the only non-starters that scored in that game for us.
Who was the second?
DHS and Isaiah were the 2 guys who scored for us.
Well,
and that weren't
Isaiah started.
Sorry.
Vince,
that's right, yeah. Vince. I forget that Vince is not a starter. So, yeah, Vince. Yeah.
Exactly. He should be a starter. But now we're about 13 minutes into the episode, so let's talk about the major question that I think is on every single Georgetown fan's mind, but also probably on a lot of national reporters and writers like John Rothstein and people like that's mind as well. Where should we be ranked come the AP poll that drops? This episode is going to be dropping Monday, so that means that it's going to be coming out today. The AP poll is coming out today. Where should we be? Should we have more votes than last week where we had 1? Should we be the same? Should we even be a top 25 team at this point? And why, do you think?
By far our biggest victory this year. Clemson is a good team, and I think Clemson will be a quad 1 win. Or it's definitely by year's end. Maryland may be still, but Maryland may not, given their injuries. I think we are going to be just on the outside of the top 25.
Just on the outside.
Just on the outside, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I would kind of put us as well, I think. I think we're going to be where NC State and San Diego State were last week. They each received 87, 67, and 45 votes was Indiana. I think Indiana's going to get a top 25 spot.
I agree.
So I think they'll get their spot.
What do you think? What did Oregon
top
do?
Teams? That's not. Oregon, I'm looking at their schedule right now. They beat SD State, Rice, and Hawaii. So, like, a bunch of these teams that are getting higher votes than us have not beat anyone. Like, they have not beat anyone.
State's a good win.
Who is?
SD State is San Diego State. That's a good win by Oregon.
No, it's South Dakota State.
Oh, South Dakota. Okay.
Yeah, not USD.
Oh, not USD. Okay.
Yeah. San Diego State's also a top team to get in the AP, but NC State hasn't beaten a big team. Oregon hasn't. Vandy hasn't. Like, a bunch of these teams haven't beaten anyone, and we've beaten Maryland. And people were saying, oh, they just beat Maryland. That doesn't mean anything. Now we beat Clemson. So now people can't be saying that we didn't beat anything. And also, I think KenPom may be the stupidest thing of all time. Because how do we beat a top 20 team in KenPom ratings and move up like three the bottom team in the Big East?
I would just ignore KenPom for another few weeks because it's so – the way KenPom works is a lot of stuff from past seasons is baked in the early weeks.
Yeah,
right?
it's all preseason, and also
it's preseason. It's recruiting, right? It's how you've done the last few years, and not until about middle of the season is it just about what you've actually done.
Yeah.
On the so I imagine in a month or so we'll take a huge jump in KenPom.
Yeah. But I just don't know at which point it becomes that we're a top 25 team because we've beaten these two very good teams. Now we have a Wagner team. We'll talk about that in an episode that's going to come out Thursday. But we played Dayton after that in a tournament. They haven't really beat. They lost to Illinois State.
Yep.
And then since then they beat Mercyhurst. They beat Xavier, and then they lost to Belmont. So
Dayton has some pretty good.
Oh, wait, I'm looking at the. Wait, I think I'm looking at the. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong team. I think. What was that? Yeah, I was looking at the wrong team. I think. Yeah, I was. So they've beaten Canisius, UMBC. They lost to Cincinnati, and they beat Bethune.
It's Canisius.
Canisius.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking at the women's accidentally. So they play Marquette in 3 days. So that's, I think, going to be a big game for them just because of when they play us. Because let's say that Dayton beats Marquette and we beat Dayton, then I don't think Marquette's even in the conversation to be better than us. But if we beat Dayton, do we become a top team? Do we become a top 25 team? I don't really think so because I think that's worse than Maryland and Clemson. But then if we go on and we say, oh, wait, we're now beating a team like BYU or Miami, that makes us a top 25 team. And I think when we make the top 25, it's not going to be us. It's not going to be us in the top 25 or top 24. I think we're going to be a top 20 team or lower because we're not going to get there till we beat a team like BYU and Dayton back-to-back nights.
So you don't think if we roll through everyone going into UNC, you don't think we'll be ranked?
No, I think we'll be top 20.
Top 20, okay.
I think we're going to skip top 25 to top 20 because we're not going to be – Dayton and BYU are our two next big games. We should be beating Dayton, obviously. And then if we beat BYU, who right now is a top 7 team, just barely lost to UConn.
Yep.
If we can beat them, then I think we're a top 20 team. So that's my opinion. I think we're going to be right outside top 25. Wagner isn't going to do anything unless a team like Indiana, which I think will be in the top 25, Kansas, Wisconsin, or Creighton lose. Or Creighton's probably going to be out as well. But Auburn, if one of those teams lose a big or a bye game in the week that we play Wagner, I don't think it'll do anything. So I think we just have to wait and see for BYU. Because that's
Did you listen to that conversation between Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman on the Field of 68 about?
No, I don't. I heard that he was saying some bad stuff about Georgetown.
Goodman just thinks we haven't played anybody, but he'll say that we are the third best team probably in the Big East.
I mean, yeah, I'd say he doesn't know basketball if he said we haven't played anybody, honestly, because Maryland without Farrell Payne, who got injured, and prayers for him because that was a horrible injury, just beat Marquette, even without Farrell Payne. So, I don't know how we didn't beat anybody, but he can say whatever he wants. We're just going to continue to play basketball, and that's just how it's going to go.
What do you think this means for the conference?
Well, the conference
is hurting right now.
Yeah, I mean, the conference isn't playing well. I think it's going to be that we're a top 3, top 2 team in the Big East. I don't like St. John's at all. Like, at
Hmm.
all. I think they're a top 2 team, top 3 team. I think it's us, them, and UConn at the top tier, which is kind of crazy because before this season, people were putting us in top in bottom tier, not even middle tier. So I think it's kind of crazy that now we're being considered top 3 team. And then we
I don't
have
think anybody saw the Big East starting
yeah.
so rough.
I think Marquette, which I said weren't going to have a good year, I think they're not going to have a good year. I think Creighton is going to be worse. I think Providence, wow, like not even that I like the beef that Providence and Georgetown have. They're just playing horribly to start the season. And this is what I said. Like they have the players, but they have zero chemistry. Kim English does not know how to coach at all. He, in my opinion, is the worst coach in the Big East. He cannot coach at all. He can't coach like it's
When when
horrible.
I when I watch that team, I see a team that can score pretty easily, has a lot of talent, but they can't defend. They just can't
I
defend
see
it.
like the Brooklyn Nets with KD, Kyrie, and James Harden the year that they didn't make the playoffs and it all went chaotic and everyone ended up leaving. That's what I see because they have the talent. They have a big three, in my opinion. They have Sellers. They have
Hmm.
what's his name? Jason Edwards, and then the three, I don't even know who that would be. But Duncan Powell hasn't been able to do anything. He's been horrible. But they have the freshman who I'd put in that big Vox or something. Like they have a good team. It's just they don't have a coach that can coach them. They can't find the chemistry, and I don't really know where it is from here. But Kim English will not have a job next year for Providence or in the Big East, no matter what, because they lost to
Heard it here
Colorado.
first. You think so? I think they'll pull.
100.
It's so early. I still think they're a bubble team, but I don't think they're. I think we're ahead. I think we're the third best team. I think they'll probably finish somewhere around fifth or sixth.
It's hard to be a bubble team when you're getting like losses to teams like Colorado and Virginia Tech. Like obviously, like Virginia Tech, I think is a pretty okay team, but
Hmm.
Colorado's really not. So
Yeah,
that's why, like, so like I don't know. I can't really say that they're gonna be a bubble team. I don't think they will be, to be
I think
honest,
they might
because
finish right behind us. They might finish right behind us and be on the bubble.
I don't know.
But
I don't think so.
it's so early. Like all these like
Yeah,
I look at Creighton. Is
it's
Creighton looks
it's
terrible.
it's
I but
so early, but at the end of the day, I think John Rothstein tweeted this. Like at the end of the day in March, when they're deciding the selection committee is deciding bubble teams and stuff, and or teams who are going to make it last four in, these
hmm
games matter. It doesn't matter when you play them; they matter. If you're
yeah
losing to a teams like Colorado, Virginia Tech, and Colorado ends up sucking, they were projected a bottom team in the Big 12. Virginia
yes
Tech ends up not playing well. They're not a bubble team, but the same thing could happen to us where Clemson and Maryland end up being horrible teams. And then they say Georgetown beating nobodies. But I obviously don't think Clemson's a horrible team. Neither I do think, neither Maryland, but Farrell Payne going down changes their entire squad. But yeah,
I
what are your
shared.
what are your predictions for Georgetown this year?
I think we're going to finish third in the Big East. I think we'll finish with 22 wins overall, and I think we'll make the tournament. I've thought since the summer that we were going to make the tournament. It's very funny to me that now people are kind of coming around to that, and
Yeah,
it's especially it's shame on these national writers who have a lot more access to the team than we do, and they couldn't see that coming. Rothstein
yeah,
was actually the only one I think who was really high in
and Brian
Georgetown.
Ralph, Brian
And
Ralph.
Brian Ralph, yeah,
Yeah, I want to shout out Brian Ralph because me and him had an episode. I think it came out before the season started, maybe one game in, where we talked about Georgetown and what they were going to do this year. We
yeah.
both said top three team in the Big East. We both said Sweet 16 could be their ceiling. Right now, I'd say Sweet 16. I'd say top two team in the Big East and a top 15 team nationally. The big thing about this is that this year is going to change Georgetown forever because Jordan Smith Jr., if you're seeing Georgetown do the same as Duke in wins and rankings, why do you choose Duke if it's the same money amount and you could choose to be home or go play at Duke and be another one of their guys who goes to the draft, but you're not the main guy, and you won't be the main guy. But at Georgetown, you are. So that's a big one. Number two, Baba Oladotu. His dad was at the game yesterday, at versus Clemson. He said he loves Georgetown. Baba had a YouTube video. You could tell how much his dad loves Georgetown, and these wins that keep coming just make people want to go more. The only question on why people wouldn't want to come to our team is because we don't win games. You see the fans come out when they need to. I'm assuming next year we'll have a schedule non-conference where we're playing really only teams that are amazing, and we won't have that many cupcake games. Maybe two or three, but most of our games are going to be versus top talent teams that win a fan coming. And I think we're Oladotu and possibly Jordan Smith Jr. if we keep winning.
What do you want to see cleaned up before next Saturday?
Next Saturday is going to be another game where they can test things out. They could see what's going on. A few things I want cleaned up without giving my things to watch for next week is going to be, I think, just slowing the game down when it needs to be slowed down. We love playing fast. We love playing transition basketball, but I think at some points you have to slow it down, like Jay Will did when there's 4 turnovers in a row. 2 from us, 2 from Clemson. Like, you have to slow it down. So slowing down the game when needed is one. And that's probably the biggest thing. And number 2, Juice has to play smarter. I don't even know if Juice will be starting line. I think it gets to a point where Ed just has to say, like, Vince, you're going to start. Because when Vince did versus Binghamton, I understand him not starting against Clemson because it's Binghamton. But when you do it against Clemson as well, then it's like, how are we not going to start this guy who's playing better in every category, getting more minutes, so there's no point in not starting him. And no matter what, he's getting off the bench after 2 minutes of playing. So why wouldn't you start him? There's no reason not to. But those are mine. What about you?
3-point shooting. We're creeping up. Each game, I think we're shooting better, but
yeah,
we're still not shooting well. We hit 6 threes. If we could get up to making 8 threes, 9 threes a game, I'd be ecstatic. And even that's would just be close to average. But we're shooting right now 23% as a team.
We shot 35%, which was our biggest outing. We saw Kayla make threes. We saw KJ.
Kayla was 3 for 7. I was hoping he would actually get more threes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, I like when I see everyone doing the eagle on the bench. Don't even know how it was made, but I love it. But yeah, shooting is going to be a thing because if you can't shoot, it's not really sustainable in March Madness and come March Madness. So I think getting shooting up and Gabriel Landria, who will be coming soon, is going to be fixing that problem. So I think shooting will be fixed come UNC and further.
We don't have to become a great shooting team, just to become an average 3-point shooting team,
or a fine one, or a fine one, because
and that raises the ceiling of this team so much.
Every team has their problems, and I think shooting is ours, but I think it's not as big of a problem as other teams have. St. John's, it's chemistry, which is I'd rather be the most gelled team, which I think we are right now, playing like it, be one of the best defensive teams, and be a team that has paid their players however much money they want. Tried to steal Bryce Hopkins from Georgetown, which I'm actually happy we don't really have him right now. I think our team's amazing how it is. And then not have chemistry and not be able to play basketball to the capacity you're supposed to. So I think it's obviously not a problem you want to have, but it's better than other possible problems, and it will be fixed in my opinion.
The other thing I would say is defensive rebounding. We keep on. We just give up too many offensive rebounds, and they didn't beat us by a lot in this game. I think second chance points they had 11 to our 8.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem against good teams.
Yep.
That are really aggressive on the boards.
I don't know if any team's gonna be more aggressive than us. To be honest, we're an aggressive team, but yeah, I fully understand what you're saying. So, everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you don't already, subscribe to us and follow us on Twitter at Bleed Blue.
1789.
1789. I am Big East Hoyas. Rasheen, you can find him on Twitter at Hoya Optimist 33.
And shout out to the students. It really was great to see the student section filled and loud and just loving the team, and Vince jumping in and celebrating with them was like a very cool all-time moment that I think anyone who was there and saw that will cherish that for the rest of their life as a Georgetown fan. But we got to see that every day. We got to see that every game.
And I don't know how this gets out to whoever it's get out to, but the NIL Georgetown store, we need Vince Iwuchukwu merch and we need KJ Lewis merch because
absolutely
it will make a lot of money for them, and I cannot wait to buy some merch from both of them because they're both playing amazing right now. But we will be back on Thursday with a game preview of Wagner. But thank you everyone for listening, and let's go Hoyas.
Let's go Hoyas.